If you ask people which industry has told the most lies and caused the most damage, they might say big tech, big food, or maybe the petrochemical industry. But there is another who remains fairly undetected: Big Shoe. The human foot has
26 bones for natural stability, over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments, hundreds of thousands of nerve endings for natural sensory connection.
It's almost as if our feet were designed for running. For most of our existence, hundreds of thousands of years, people have been running and walking barefoot. Until one day this changed. Now, in first world countries, we're stuck with these restrictive shoes which are terrible for your feet. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the anatomy and history of the human foot, why modern shoes are terrible for our feet, and my experience with barefoot inspired shoes. To truly understand the purpose of shoes, we must begin at the start, 8000 BC. The earliest designs were mere foot bags of leather to protect the feet from rocks, debris and cold. There was no sign or intention of shoes supporting the feet. They were exclusively for protection. And as civilizations progressed, they were also a status symbol and for fashion, but still not for the health of your feet.
You've been told
That this cushioning is supporting your arches.
this concept is pure bullshit.
Ask any engineer, how do you support an arch? It's through the sides. If you want a strong, sturdy arch, you don't support it up the middle. You strengthen and support the sides.
Keeping our feet cocooned in these massive padded shoes weakens our feet, which leads to problems as they're not functioning correctly. Although the cushioning might feel good in the short term, it's actually better to strengthen your feet by using barefoot shoes or by going barefoot, as well as doing specific foot strengthening exercises, as this will reduce injury as your foot is working correctly and distributing the load, as it has the strength to deal with it instead of becoming weak. Now this leads us on to the first problem with modern shoes. As the toes are raised above the ground by padding, and shoes are often elevated at the toes, the foot receives very minimal stimuli, meaning the brain cannot help us run efficiently and coordinate our lower body. This leads to problems such as
overstriding, so landing with the foot too far out in front of an extended knee here. That essentially slams the brakes on with each stride, puts more strain through the knee and the hip into the lower back, and really does start to create this inefficient running stride where you're having to overcome the decelerative forces before you can then get over the top of that landing foot and push off onto the next stride.
This meta-analysis, published by Sadi Khan in 2021, looked at over 150 studies and found that more padding led to worse running form and therefore more impact on the joints and tissues. They concluded that arch support cannot make a huge difference, and that a far cheaper and more long-term solution is to work on your arch, foot and hip strength. The Knees Over Toes guy has a lot of great content on this, which is challenging and changing conventional advice. Not only does excess padding mess with our running stride, so does drop in shoes, which is the difference between the height of the forefoot and the heel. This forces us to change our running style, as our foot was naturally designed to have zero drop. This doesn't necessarily lead to problems, but for a lot of people it does, as they do not have the sensory connection which helps them to run efficiently without damaging themselves and putting excessive force through their joints. This next problem is probably the biggest one in my opinion. It's having a narrow toe box. This crushes toes together, which can lead to an unnatural foot shape and toe placement, as well as bunions. The big toe is 4 times more dense than the other toes, so it's very important for stability, and a narrow toe box messes this up. Falling is a large problem in older people, and perhaps if they had stronger and better functioning feet, these problems could be prevented. This shows how having stronger, more naturally functioning feet is important for all. However, in many Western countries, the healthcare protocol seems to be, let's try and give people as many drugs as possible while also making a lot of money without actually treating the root cause. So you need to take responsibility for your own health. Now, getting into my experience, I got the Xero Mesa Trail and the Prius Trail Knit FG. First of all, I want to say I really like them. I don't think I'm ever going to go back to using normal shoes again. My feet just feel so much better. So starting with the Xero shoe, my first impressions was I could straight away see the wider toe box. It felt very thin and it was almost like wearing a slipper because it was so light. And also I didn't notice the sides of the shoe pressing against my forefoot, which you normally do with other shoes. They're also extremely flexible, which allows your feet to move naturally. They also come with an insole, which I'd recommend using until your feet adapt to barefoot shoes, and I wouldn't go too hard in the beginning. I would just start by walking, and then as you progress walking further and further, then start running. Don't just put them on and run straight away, because your feet most probably aren't ready for it. The first time I tried them, I only went for a short walk and the balls of my feet were still tired. So proceed with caution and progressively overload your feet like any other muscles. Now getting onto the Primus Trail Knit FG. I also think this is a good shoe, but I prefer the Xero shoe. This shoe also has wide toe box, a flat heel with no drop, and a removable insole. However, I found that they were heavier than the Xero shoes, but they're still lighter than the average shoes. I found they weren't as flexible as the Xero shoes, which has led to rubbing against my little toes. I got the size bigger and still had the same problem, which was annoying. They're still probably better than the shoes you're wearing now, but personally I wouldn't recommend them over the Xero shoes, as they don't work well for my feet. However, they might work well for you. Vivo seems a great company and the shoes are high quality. I think the issue is that this model of shoe and my foot structure are not compatible. I'll be looking to try out some more of their shoes in the future. If you might be interested in purchasing Xero shoes, you can use my referral link in the description and pinned comment to support the channel at no additional cost to you. This allows me to continue to make more videos, and I will only ever promote products I believe are good quality and will actually bring benefit to you. Thanks for watching, and I hope I've provided you some value.